3 hidden signs she's secretly drooling over you. Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." But what if I told you that the greatest attraction isn't trying to impress someone, but becoming so internally powerful that they're naturally drawn to you? Today, I'm going to share 3 hidden signs that a woman is secretly attracted to you. Signs that most men completely miss because they're too busy chasing validation instead of embodying the timeless principles of Stoic philosophy. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what to look for, but how to become the kind of man who naturally attracts genuine interest without even trying. But first, if you're ready to transform your understanding of attraction through ancient wisdom, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. Trust me, this isn't your typical dating advice. Before we dive into these 3 signs, let's address the elephant in the room. The internet is flooded with pickup artists and dating gurus promising you quick fixes and manipulation tactics. But here's what they won't tell you. True attraction, the kind that builds lasting relationships, has nothing to do with tricks and everything to do with character. The ancient Stoics understood something profound about human nature that we've forgotten in our modern world obsessed with instant gratification. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of history's greatest philosophers, taught that our power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. And here's the fascinating part. When you truly embody Stoic principles, you become magnetic without even trying. You develop what the Stoics called ataraxia, unshakable inner peace, and this creates a gravitational pull that draws people toward you. Now, I want to be clear about something crucial. This isn't about manipulation or getting someone to like you. That's the opposite of Stoic thinking. This is about becoming so grounded in your own worth and purpose that you naturally inspire admiration and interest. When you stop needing validation, you paradoxically become more attractive to others. The 3 signs I'm about to share with you are subtle because they come from a place of genuine attraction, not performance. They're the kind of signals that a woman gives when she's drawn to your character, not just trying to be polite. Sign 1, the quality of her attention. The first sign is something most men completely overlook because they're focused on the wrong things. It's not about how much attention she gives you. It's about the quality of that attention. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. I once knew a guy named David who was always confused about women's interest in him. He'd tell me, "She talks to me all the time, but I can't tell if she likes me." Meanwhile, his friend Marcus, and yes, that was actually his name, would have women hanging on his every word, but he barely seemed to notice. The difference? David was getting surface level attention, the kind you give to anyone to be polite. Marcus was receiving what I call Stoic attention, the deep, focused presence that someone gives when they're genuinely captivated. Here's what Stoic attention looks like. Subpoint 1. She remembers the details that matter. When a woman is truly attracted to you, she doesn't just hear what you say, she absorbs it. She'll remember that conversation you had 3 weeks ago about your childhood dog. She'll ask follow-up questions about that book you mentioned reading. She'll reference things you've said in completely different contexts. This isn't about having a good memory. We all remember things that matter to us. Think about it from a Stoic perspective. We naturally pay attention to what we value. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other. Beginnings end." When someone starts paying this level of attention to you, something has begun in their mind. The key here is to notice not just that she remembers things, but which things she remembers. Does she recall your achievements? That's nice, but it might just be respect. Does she remember your vulnerabilities, your fears, your dreams? That's attraction. She's collecting pieces of who you really are. Subpoint 2. Her body language shifts into receive mode. Here's something fascinating that aligns perfectly with Stoic teaching about being present. When someone is genuinely attracted to you, their entire body becomes receptive to your presence. You'll notice she turns her full body toward you when you speak, not just her head. Her posture opens up, arms uncrossed, leaning slightly forward. But here's the subtle part that most men miss. She becomes very still. When you're talking about something important to you, this stillness is crucial. In our hyperactive world, genuine stillness is rare and precious. When someone becomes completely present with you, no fidgeting, no looking around, no mental preparation for what they'll say next, they're giving you the gift of their full attention. The Stoics valued presence above almost everything else. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." When a woman does this naturally in your presence, it's a sign that being with you feels like the only place she wants to be. Subpoint 3. She creates conversational intimacy. This is perhaps the most telling sign, and it's rooted in the Stoic principle of authenticity. When someone is attracted to you, they start sharing things they don't share with just anyone. But here's the key. It's not about the dramatic revelations. It's about the small personal details that reveal character. She might tell you about a book that changed her perspective, or share a childhood memory that explains why she acts a certain way, or admit to a fear that she doesn't usually talk about. Pay attention to phrases like, "I don't usually tell people this, but," or "You're probably going to think this is weird." But these are invitations into her inner world. From a Stoic standpoint, this makes perfect sense. Epictetus taught that we're drawn to people who make us feel safe to be ourselves. When a woman starts revealing her authentic self to you, it's because something about your presence, your stability, your non-judgment, your groundedness makes her feel secure enough to drop her social masks. Now, here's what's crucial to understand. You can't manufacture this kind of attention. You can't trick someone into giving it to you. You can only become worthy of it by developing the inner qualities that inspire it. The Stoic approach is always to focus on what's within your control. You can't control whether someone finds you attractive, but you can control whether you become someone worth paying attention to. Ask yourself, am I the kind of person who deserves deep attention? Do I give others my full presence? Am I building a character worth remembering? When you start embodying these qualities yourself, when you become genuinely interested in others, when you're fully present in conversations, when you're authentic about who you are, you naturally inspire the same behavior in others. Sign 2, she tests your Stoic frame. The second sign is something that will completely change how you interpret certain interactions with women, and it's based on a fundamental Stoic principle that most modern men have never learned. Here's what happened to me personally that opened my eyes to this. A few years ago, I was talking to a woman I'd met at a coffee shop. We'd had several great conversations, but then something strange started happening. She began challenging me. Not in an aggressive way, but she'd question my opinions, playfully disagree with my choices, and sometimes make comments that seemed designed to get a reaction. My first instinct was to think she was losing interest or being difficult, but then I remembered something. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants." The same principle applies to your emotional state. Your wealth lies not in getting validation, but in not needing it. I realized she wasn't pushing me away. She was testing whether I was as grounded as I appeared to be. Here's why this happens and what it means. Subpoint 1, the unconscious stability test. When a woman is attracted to a man, she instinctively wants to know if his confidence and stability are real or just a performance. This isn't conscious manipulation, it's human nature. We all want to know if the person we're drawn to can handle life's challenges. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Throughout history, women needed to know if a potential partner could remain steady under pressure. That instinct hasn't disappeared just because we live in modern times. So she might disagree with something you've said, even if she doesn't strongly disagree. Tease you about something you care about. Cancel plans at the last minute to see how you react. Present a problem to see if you'll try to fix it or just listen. Share something that reveals her flaws to see if you'll judge her. Here's the crucial part. These aren't mean-spirited tests. They're unconscious ways of asking, are you really as secure as you seem? The Stoic response is always the same. Remain unshakable in your core while being flexible in your reactions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. When you pass these tests, when you don't get defensive, Don't try to prove yourself. Don't lose your emotional equilibrium. You demonstrate that your confidence comes from within, not from her validation. Subpoint 2. She watches how you handle disagreement. This is huge, and most men fail this test spectacularly. When someone we're attracted to disagrees with us, our ego immediately jumps in to defend our position. But the Stoic approach is completely different. Seneca taught that disagreement is an opportunity for growth. Every change of fortune affects either our person or our possessions. The wise man is prepared for either. When she disagrees with you about something, whether it's a movie, a political opinion, or a life choice, she's watching to see, do you need to be right, or can you be curious? Do you get defensive, or do you listen? Do you respect her intelligence, or do you dismiss her perspective? Can you hold your position without making her wrong for holding hers? I've seen men completely destroy their chances by getting into arguments about trivial things, simply because they couldn't handle being disagreed with. Their ego was so fragile that any challenge felt like an attack. The man with Stoic principles, however, welcomes disagreement as a chance to understand another perspective. He's secure enough in his own beliefs that he doesn't need everyone to agree with him. Subpoint 3, the emotional regulation test. This is perhaps the most important test, and it often happens in subtle ways. She might share something that makes her emotional to see how you handle her emotions. Have a bad day and be slightly irritable to see if you take it personally. Be late or change plans to see if you can roll with it. Share a success to see if you're genuinely happy for her or threatened by it. What she's really testing is your emotional regulation, your ability to maintain your inner equilibrium regardless of external circumstances. When you demonstrate that you can, stay calm when she's emotional without shutting her down. Be flexible when plans change without being a pushover. Celebrate her successes without feeling diminished. Handle her bad moods without taking them personally. You're showing her something incredibly attractive, that you're internally stable. You're not dependent on her mood or behavior for your own emotional well-being. Here's what these tests really communicate. I'm considering letting you into my life. I need to know if you're strong enough to handle what comes with that. The beautiful thing about understanding this from a Stoic perspective is that you don't need to prepare for these tests or strategize about how to pass them. When you genuinely embody Stoic principles, when you're truly grounded in your own worth and not dependent on others for validation, you pass these tests naturally. You're not trying to impress her or prove anything. You're simply being who you are. Someone who remains steady in the face of challenges. Someone who values truth over being right. Someone whose peace comes from within. Sign 3. She invests in your growth. The third and most powerful sign is something that goes completely against what most dating advice teaches. It's not about what she does to get your attention. It's about what she does to help you become a better version of yourself. And this connects to perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Stoic philosophy, the idea that true love isn't about possession, but about mutual growth toward virtue. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I once observed a couple at a bookstore. Let's call them Sarah and John. What struck me wasn't how she looked at him, but how she talked to him. When he mentioned wanting to learn guitar, she didn't just say, "That's nice." 3 weeks later, she showed up with information about a music teacher she'd researched. When he talked about feeling stuck in his career, she didn't try to fix his problems, but she asked questions that helped him think more clearly about what he really wanted. This wasn't her trying to change him or control him. This was someone who saw his potential and wanted to help him reach it. Here's what this looks like in practice. Subpoint 1. She challenges you to grow. When a woman is truly attracted to you, not just physically, but to who you are and who you could become, she starts acting like what the Stoics would call a philosophical friend. Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of having people in our lives who help us become better versions of ourselves. He said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." And then when someone invests in your growth, they're helping you end old patterns and begin new ones. You'll notice she asks deeper questions about your goals and dreams, gently points out inconsistencies between what you say you want and what you're doing, shares resources, books, or ideas that might help you. celebrates your progress, not just your achievements, holds you accountable without being controlling. This is radically different from someone who just likes you as you are right now. This is someone who sees your potential and wants to be part of your journey toward it. But here's the crucial distinction. She's not trying to fix you or change you into someone else. She's trying to help you become more fully yourself. There's a profound difference. Subpoint 3, she protects your time and energy. This final aspect is subtle but incredibly telling. When someone is genuinely attracted to you and invested in your growth, they become protective of your resources. Not possessive, but protective. She might suggest you say no to commitments that don't serve your goals. Point out when people are taking advantage of your kindness. Encourage you to prioritize your health, sleep, or important projects. Create boundaries around your time together so it's quality over quantity. Challenge you when you're settling for less than you deserve. This comes from a place of genuine care for your well-being and success. She's not trying to control your choices, but she's invested enough in your future to help you make choices that serve your highest good. The Stoic principle here is profound. We should surround ourselves with people who help us live according to our values, not people who distract us from them. Epictetus taught that we become like the people we spend time with, so we should choose wisely. When someone is attracted to the best version of you, they naturally want to help that version emerge. Now here's what I want you to understand about these 3 signs, and this is crucial. You cannot manufacture them. You cannot manipulate someone into giving you this kind of attention, testing your character, or investing in your growth. These signs emerge naturally when you become someone worthy of them. The Stoic approach to attraction is always inside out. First, focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally inspires genuine interest. Develop your character, pursue your purpose, cultivate inner peace, and build real competence in areas that matter to you. Second, pay attention to these signs not to analyze or strategize, but to recognize when someone sees real value in who you are and who you're becoming. Third, appreciate these signs for what they really are. Indicators that someone is willing to invest their time, energy, and attention in your mutual growth and connection. Here's your action plan. 1. Develop attention-worthy qualities. Become genuinely interesting by pursuing interests that matter to you. Read, learn, grow, create. Give others reasons to remember conversations with you. 2. Build unshakable inner stability. Practice emotional regulation. Don't depend on others' approval for your self-worth. Develop what the Stoics called preferred indifference. Preferences without attachments. Invest in others' growth. The best way to attract someone who will invest in your growth is to become someone who invests in others' growth. Be the kind of person who asks deeper questions, celebrates others' progress, and creates space for vulnerability. 4. Remember, the goal isn't to get someone to like you. The goal is to become someone worth liking, someone whose presence adds value to others' lives. Remember, the goal isn't to get someone to like you. The goal is to become someone worth liking, someone whose presence adds value to others' lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The same is true for attraction. Very little external manipulation or strategy is needed when you focus on building genuine internal worth. These 3 signs, quality attention, character testing, and investment in growth, are not tricks to look for or tactics to inspire. They're natural outcomes of becoming someone whose presence elevates others and whose character stands up to scrutiny. If you're seeing these signs from someone in your life, appreciate them. Recognize that you're being offered something rare, genuine interest, based on who you really are, not just what you can provide. If you're not seeing these signs, don't despair. Use this as motivation to continue building the kind of character that naturally inspires this level of interest. The Stoic path isn't about quick fixes or immediate results. It's about becoming so grounded in your own worth, so committed to your own growth, and so present in your relationships that others naturally want to be part of your journey. If this video has given you a new perspective on attraction and relationships, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that combines ancient wisdom with modern insights. And here's my question for you. Which of these 3 signs resonates most with your own experience? Share in the comments below. Your insights might help someone else recognize genuine interest in their own life. Remember, become someone worth paying attention to, and the right attention will find you. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and stay true to yourself.